Welcome to the final lesson in this section on your content management. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to maximize each piece of content you write, and in case you're wondering how you're going to come up with all of this content, how to beat writer's block. First, let's talk about something important you might be wondering, which is, how do I come up with all of this content? There are a few ways that work really well to help you consistently create quality content, and before I go into them, I will say also that it does get easier with time. Writing is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the better you get at it, and the easier it gets. And these tips will help you get there even faster. First, you're going to get content ideas at random times. It's just the way our minds work. Whenever that happens, stop and write down your idea. Save it as a Gmail draft, a note on your cell phone, a note in Evernote, or whatever method you prefer. The important thing is to stop, write it down, and then go back to whatever you were doing before you got the idea. If you don't write it down, you are going to forget it, and it's probably not going to come back to you, no matter how much you tell yourself otherwise. But if you do note all of your spontaneous inspirations, that way when you're sitting down to write your content, you have all your ideas already in one place. The next thing you can do is, when you get asked questions by your audience or your clients, or when you see questions that people who are in your target market are asking, write them down. That is a great way to create content that you know will be well received because people are asking questions about it. Another great way to come up with ideas is to do research. Search in your groups for top trends and for keywords and topics that are getting a lot of engagement. And finally, the most effective thing you can do is every week or month or however often you need to, block off a chunk of time to batch create your content, which means creating all of your content for the week or the month at once. This is very effective because when your brain is in the zone, it's much easier to get and to keep your creative juices flowing. If you remember, in the example calendar I shared in the previous lesson, I recommended doing this on the weekends. This way, especially if you do your writing on the weekend when you're energized and well rested, you are set for the entire week. Then, during the week, when you're working your 9 to 5 and when your energy and creativity are lower, you're just spending your time sharing the content you already wrote, which is so much easier. A great tool to use to see what topics are trending in your industry is BuzzSumo.com. It's free to use, and there are 2 features you're going to find really helpful. First, if you go to BuzzSumo.com and click on the Most Shared tab, which is highlighted in this screenshot in gold, and you type in whatever content or title or idea you're thinking of, you can see what type of content has been shared for that topic. For example, I typed in Be Yourself, and I found the top 2 articles, which are a video titled Don't Be So Hard on Yourself and an article on Who Would You Be If You Weren't Yourself. Those 2 posts combined have been shared almost 300,000 times in the past year. They are obviously doing well, and there is something about them that people love. Next, I would take a look at these 2 pieces to see why they were so popular. I would look through their comments and note repeated phrases and patterns. And then I would write a post on being yourself and include these notes. You can see also that not only can you search for any topic you can think of, but you can also filter by different criteria. You can filter by dates as recent as the last 24 hours, all the way up to the past year. And you can also filter by content type, articles, infographics, guest posts, whatever type of content you're looking for. The other great feature that BuzzSumo provides is the Trending Now tool, which is under the Trending Now tab highlighted in this screenshot. It shows you what kind of content has been trending in an industry for the past 2 to 24 hours. Using this, you can see what's trending now and speak to it to show your audience that you are on top of everything that's going on in your industry. For example, you can see in this screenshot that Orange is the New Black is being renewed, and if that's something that my audience cared about, I would write an article on it. What you can learn from Orange is the New Black's popularity and how you can apply it to your business or your health or whatever my niche is. You can also see that you can filter by different categories. For example, if your area is fashion or science or health, you can filter by that and see what's trending. If you remember, in the Your Social Media Plan lesson, we talked about sharing content daily in 2 to 3 different online forums. If you're sharing content in 3 places per day and 7 times per week, Does that mean you need to create 21 pieces of content every single week? Definitely not. After you create your content, the next thing that you need to do is to make the most of it and make sure that you get as much engagement and awareness out of it as possible. That means sharing it more than once. This is a very important concept known as recycling, and it's the answer to how you can be visible and share content every day without having to come up with new content all the time. There are a couple of ways to recycle content effectively. First, you can simply recycle the same content by sharing it again on a different day. Just wait a few days and then repost it. You can also share a different angle to the same story or the same tip. For example, you can take one tip and in one post share how this fact comes from a book, and in another post you can share how one of your clients used the tip, and in yet another post you can share a step-by-step process for how your audience could implement it. It's the same message, just offering a different angle, a different source, or a different perspective. Another way that you can recycle content is to share different sides of the same issue. For example, you could share one post explaining opinion or methodology A, and another post explaining opinion or methodology B. As you can see, there are many ways to recycle the same topic and content repeatedly so that you're not spending too much time creating content. In fact, a good rule of thumb to follow is to spend only 20% of your time creating new content and 80% of your time promoting and recycling it so that as many people see it as possible. The only thing that you should not do when recycling is to just take the same content and post it in a different group or forum at the exact same time. That's because many people are in the same groups, and when you do that, for example on Facebook, your content in all of those groups will become batched on people's news feeds, and they'll see that you just posted the same thing in however many different groups. Not only is this spammy, but it also tells your audience that you're just posting for the sake of being visible, that you don't really care about giving value, and that you're not here to truly connect. If you follow the recycling rules that we just went over, including making small changes to your content or even just waiting a few days before resharing a post, you can easily recycle your content in a way that is a win-win for everyone. Since you'll be sharing content in 2 to 3 different places, it's important to track when and where you're sharing what. This will also help you manage how you recycle your content. I recommend using a simple content calendar tracker like the one shown here, which you can access at louisajo.com/ETE marketing. In this lesson, you learned how to manage your content. That includes how to beat writer's block and how to come up with all the content ideas you need, and how to keep track of what you've written about and where you've shared it so that you can maximize your results from every single piece of content that you create. Your next steps now are to complete the Your Facebook Group's Marketing Plan Implementation Guide and your own Facebook group implementation guide. If applicable, also complete the Your LinkedIn Marketing Plan Implementation Guide and customize your social media plan for any industry-specific groups or forums. Track your content using the social media content tracker. Then, move on to the Your Email section for the final lesson in this module.